I don't know if I have played a game that has nailed the general gameplay mechanics as much as Haste does. If this was a video just about the gameplay, the controls, how Haste feels as a game, it would just be simply 10 out of 10. There is nothing that I can say that I don't like about it. You should definitely buy this game, and we'll just leave it at that. But I guess in the interest of actually making, a YouTube video, I want to go into it in a little bit more depth. And the main question I have around Haste is, why in the world did they make this absolutely fantastic, fast-paced action game into a roguelite? There's a lot of questions around why this is done. It feels like the most basic element of the game. We'll get to that a little bit later. I'm going to describe the game for you before we get into that. Let me know what you think about Haste. It's on Steam. There'll be a link in the description. So Haste is essentially a third-person speed-running kind of game. It reminds me of almost like Flash-based physics-style games that I would have played when I was younger, where you're just trying to pretty much time your flying. You're trying to make sure that when you hit the ground, you're hitting the right side of the hill, of the dip, of whatever you can find, which, if you do this well, will give you more speed and allow you to just absolutely fly through procedurally generated levels at insane speeds. And straight away, one thing I want to say about Haste is that sometimes games talk about being fast. When you play them, yeah, everything's moving but doesn't feel fast. When you have a really good level in Haste, it feels fantastic. It feels like you are dodging through amazingly small gaps. You are hitting the right moments, and at the end of the level, it will give you a bit of a score as well. So if you hit lots of perfect landings on your way through, you'll go awfully quick, and then you'll get an S result at the end. It feels really rewarding. Now, you play through 10 different shards, and these shards are broken into basically the most basic style roguelike choose your own direction map kind of system, which pretty much means that you'll be playing through some basic levels. There'll be some interaction with characters. There'll be a shop that you can purchase some different items and passive upgrades with. And then there'll be some challenges that will lead you up to a boss fight, which is actually really epic and awesome. Although there is a bit of repetition where they use the same bosses just with a few more obstacles, which means that it does get a little bit easier the more you play through. The better the result that you get on each level within your shard will give you access to some sparks, which can be used, as I mentioned, in shops to purchase things. And at the end of the shard, you'll get some anti-sparks, which can be used for permanent upgrades, unlocking new kind of flight mechanics, and just getting access to new different materials. So that's all pretty simple. It works quite well. So let's move into the roguelike elements. As I mentioned before, Haste has the simplest level selection style roguelike interface that really, if you've played any of the basic roguelikes, it feels like it could be put together quite quickly. The main roguelike elements that I guess allow a bit of replayability is the access to those items that I mentioned earlier. Now, these items can be really simple. It can be things like healing. It can be things like a bit of extra boost. It gives you access to energy, which allows you to utilize an ability, which for the most part for me has been sort of like this surfboard that lets me go through the air a bit faster and line up my dips a bit more effectively. But I feel like the game even knows that this is kind of like a basic element, because it has the ability for you just to pretty much go to the boss, click on that, and then it will just choose some kind of path for you, because I have no interest at all in terms of direction I'm playing through this. I like the game. I like the gameplay. I don't care which pathway I take. There's some challenges in there that are a little bit different, but they feel a bit tokenistic, and they might give you a little bit of extra ability or some new items and things like that, but it feels attached on. And if you had a game that was kind of lacking, then maybe you need these extra elements. But when you have completely nailed the gameplay loop, you do not need this. Indeed, if you look through some of the achievements on Steam, I feel like even they know that what people will be doing is wanting to try and hunt through and get those S tier results on different levels. And this feels like a game that could have, and I don't usually say this, an online leaderboard or some kind of time system, so I can replay some of these levels. I know they're procedurally generated, but I can replay and see if I can find better paths. I actually think multiplayer would be really sick in this, because as things change so quickly, as you really don't have any ability to plan in the future, it's kind of like playing a racing game and trying to find the racing line, but you're doing it as you're dodging through these crazy lava spirals or things that are shooting rockets at you and trying to work out the hills. And then when you do accidentally lose a bit of speed, trying to find any dip at all in the map, that could be on the side, it could be anywhere, in order just to try and get that speed back up. Saying that, I think this is like a 9 out of 10 game. I think that if you haven't played it, you should check out that link. You should go and have a crack at Haste. And I wouldn't be surprised if you leave a comment that says that you're completely mesmerized, getting into this flow that to me just reminds me of rhythm games where you're not thinking about much, you're just zoning in on what you need to do, get your timing right. And what honestly is probably my favorite game of 2025 so far. Let me know what you think about Haste.